Today I want to talk to you about something extremely important in public speaking. The power of expectations, anticipation, our assumptions and biases. I'm going to use everyday examples as well as some of the more extreme examples, because I sincerely believe that sometimes for things to sink in, especially in the obvious category, you need a hyperbole, a strong example that makes the case in point a lot more relatable. So you may think that body language is just body language. After all, whatever we say, speak, the words we use actually matter a lot more. But body language, depending on the situation, sometimes it matters more, sometimes it matters less. You've seen all those statistics, surveys, even research outcomes which suggest that nonverbal communication can constitute as much as 90% even of our overall messaging, communication, one-to-one or in group. So let's take an example. One of the most powerful proverbs or sayings in public speaking theory is expectations shape reality. What does it mean? All of our past experiences predispose us, program us to draw conclusions much faster than we think we're actually doing. So it's all happening in the background. Let's take a simple example. You were walking along the street and someone is about to approach you and start a conversation. When do you know if you want this conversation to happen or not? If you want to be approached by a complete stranger or not? Do you know after this person has spoken the very first words, said hello, welcomed you and explained why they want to talk to you? Or does it happen much faster, long before the first words are spoken? Possibly all it takes is a casual glance at a person and you end up drawing a long list of conclusions subconsciously based on their look, on the way they dress, on the posture, on the mimicry, on the facial expression. If you see something that you perhaps expect to be a little on the hostile, you will conclude that immediately that this person actually wants something from you. There are endless possibilities, but the fact remains you will be drawing those conclusions long before words are spoken. Now I will use another example to explain how important body language and facial expression is, and believe me, this is going to be an extreme one. If I give you a date, I wonder how many of you will know exactly what I have in mind just based on this date. 22nd of July 2011. If I add a country, maybe it will be a little easier for some of you to guess. The country is Norway. Anders Breivik decides to implement his long-staged plan. 8 people killed in and around a government building in Oslo. Over 80 people injured. 69 people, mostly young kids, killed on the island of Utoya. How is it relevant to body language and facial expression, you may be asking? Well, around 5:40 p.m., when Breivik has already killed around 35 people, he approaches a young man and he starts shooting into the water, trying to kill those who were swimming away from the island. And after that, he approaches a young man whose name is Adrian, and he points his rifle at Adrian, but Adrian then says no, screams, "Don't kill me." And Breivik looks at him, points the gun down and walks away. After he has already killed indiscriminately 35 young people, he approaches this one, points his gun at him, doesn't kill him, walks away. He later explained that he didn't kill him because he looked right-wing. So this young man survived almost exclusively based on the pre-programmed. So Adrian survives only because in the eyes of Breivik, he looked like someone who deserves to live because he looks right-wing. Let it sink in. Now, this obviously is a very extreme example, but the truth is, every day you're judged on dozens and dozens of tiny little details. Not only that, you keep judging other people based on the same criteria as well, without even consciously realizing most of the time that you do that. One last final example. Doing public speaking coaching, I often try to bring everyone's attention to a simple scenario. You're at a meeting, at a conference, people shake hands in a group. You're trying to welcome everyone around, say hello, but you're interested in talking to one specific person, mostly because it's the boss or because it's someone higher in the hierarchy. What happens often is that while shaking hands with everyone else, you're already trying to establish eye contact with the person you're most interested in. As a result, you will be shaking hands with everyone else in a more casual fashion. So what ends up happening is you're still holding someone's hand while looking at someone else. This is actually quite offensive. You will notice when that happens to you, when someone is shaking hands with you and looking already at someone else. Remember, a handshake is, depending on culture of course, on region, geography, background, but as a rule, is a quite intimate gesture. You don't have to do that. You don't have to shake hands with everyone. Nobody's asking you to. Nobody's even expecting directly that you do that. But if you choose to do so, just make sure you keep your eye contact with the person you're shaking hands with. That's the least you can do. Just share a little smile and proceed to say hello to the next person you want to welcome. But don't shake hands with everyone around you looking at a specific person. That's not a smart thing to do.